Good evening, everybody. That always sounds a little more abrupt than I'd like it to sound. Thanks for coming to our meeting this evening. We will start with roll call, please. I'm here. Here.
Here.
Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have an agenda before us this evening. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, the approval of the minutes from the September 14th board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Dr. Sprout, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Berrigan and governing board members. Good evening. We recognize our certified staff through our Excellence in Education Award that we did last month. We also have an award for our classified staff called the Exceptional Service Award. Tonight, we will be giving our Pinnacle of Leadership Awards, recognizing members of our administrative team. Before recognizing 7 administrators, I would like to acknowledge our entire administrative team before the governing board and emphasize to the board what an amazing group we have assembled, the best of the best. This is a team that provides leadership that impacts the lives of thousands of people. It's a team that works incredibly hard to ensure that we provide the best education to our students, a wonderful place to work for our employees, and ensures that our district is key to the greatness of the Levine community. Let's give our administrators a round of applause. Here are the 7 23-24 Pinnacle of Leadership recipients, and I have just a few of their incredible accomplishments to tell you about. First, Megan Hamburg's exemplary leadership as principal at Rogers Ranch STEM Academy includes placing the highest priority on instructional greatness, the full establishment of their science, technology, engineering, and mathematics signature program, and earning the school's first A label. Congratulations, Ms. Hamburg. As the assistant principal at Rogers Ranch STEM Academy, Asia Glover worked aside Ms. Hamburg in all of these accomplishments for the last 3 years and has been a key leader at the ranch for over 10 years, starting as a teacher. Congratulations, Ms. Glover. I'm really liking these school pictures. Adult school pictures here. Paseo Point Dual Language Academy's principal John Roloff's accomplishments included the highest academic results in the school's history and the renaming and full establishment of the school's signature program. Congratulations, Mr. Roloff. Once again, we know that a principal is successful because they have an outstanding assistant principal. As the assistant principal at Paseo Point Dual Language Academy, Caitlin Grikarowicz is a strong leader, and was a strong leader in establishing the DLI program and meeting the signature program requirements for renaming the school, and has provided very strong instructional leadership in her years at Paseo Point Dual Language Academy. Congratulations, Ms. Grikarowicz. As the Executive Director of Support Services, Robert Jacobson is, again, the best in the business in his field, an expert in all things facilities and grounds, from architecture to construction to maintenance. He has overseen 11 major construction projects. He is recognized and awarded at the state level, and last year, his building renewal grant applications totaled over $6 million to the district. Robert's not able to be here tonight, but let's give a big round of applause. Since the pandemic, Director of Federal Grants Nancy Ramirez has managed all 3 of the elementary and secondary school emergency release funding, or ESSER budgets, millions of dollars that she has been responsible for. On the side, she's also applied for and been awarded nearly $1.2 million in competitive grants for the district. She provides key financial support to our school leaders and is a member of the ASBO Women's Executive Leadership Development Series. Congratulations, Ms. Ramirez. As the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Tim Thomas's work over the last 3 years has resulted in our highest fill rate for employees in recent history, a focus on the employee experience, and the highest ever number of interns and student teachers in our classrooms, and the establishment of a staff development program for our classified staff. Congratulations, Mr. Thomas. I know that we also have here tonight some very proud family members, and so on behalf of, I know, the board and your fellow our administrative team, we are very proud of these individuals, and we know that you are too, and we want to make sure that you know the incredible impact that they have. But thank you for supporting them on the home front, on the friend front. We do appreciate you as well. I was hoping she'd be done with the placement at this point. Last week, we honored 12 community members as Levine Legends. These individuals, nominated by our school leaders, have gone above and beyond to support our students, our staff, and our schools. Honorees were recognized at an awards dinner and presented with a Levine Legends Award. The event also raised funds for the Levine Education Foundation. Recipients this year were Pat Whelan from Urban Farming Education, Vice Mayor Yasemin Ansari from the Phoenix City Council, Tanya Ruiz and Jessica Ruiz, parent volunteers at Vista del Sur Accelerated Academy, Charlene Badman with Blue Watermelon Project, Claudine Dulaney from Levine Dance, Abby Sanderson from Vulcan Materials, Tracy Beal from School Connect, Lee Rosenthal from Peter Piper Pizza, Jamie Reeves, a parent volunteer from Estrella Foothills Global Academy, Officer Stephen A. Wing from the Phoenix Police Department, and Councilwoman Keisha Hodge Washington from the City of Phoenix. And finally, Taylor Perkins from Chase Building Team. Let's give them a round of applause. On Saturday, September 23rd, 116 students from our developmental preschool and their families attended our annual family outing at the Phoenix Children's Museum, supporting September's Marvelous Me curriculum unit. Students enjoyed taking their vehicles through the car wash, selling hot dogs and ice cream, climbing in the treehouse, dressing up, racing cars, running through the noodle forest, and so much more. Our developmental preschool team organizes about one event every month for their families that tie into their curriculum. And of course, it is a great opportunity for students, teachers, therapists, and families to all build relationships with one another. I wrapped up my superintendent's math all-star club assemblies to introduce our 3rd and 4th grade students to my club, which started on Monday. Students who join the club receive a Chromebook to use at home during the school year, and they use our ALEX online math program, which is tied into our curriculum, which adapts to wherever the student is in math to help them to move forward. I will be sending videos on a monthly basis to congratulate students and introduce the month's challenges and monthly prizes. And this is our 2nd year with the Math All-Star Club. There's an incredible group of people that support this from our technology department and, of course, our 3rd and 4th grade teachers. All schools have enjoyed having their parents on campus for their annual curriculum and Title I information nights. And it's a key opportunity to showcase our schools, explain what students will be learning and the goals that we have for them this year, to feature our signature programs, and to build relationships between parents and staff. Paseo Point Dual Language Academy held their annual Hispanic Heritage Parade last week. Each class selected, researched, and represented a Spanish-speaking country. They decorated their bulletin boards, and during the parade, they held their personally designed flags and banners to represent the country their class selected. Many students and staff dressed in traditional attire for the parade, and the parade falls within Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs through from September 15th to October 15th. Ms. Abeg, you have any words about the event?
Well, it's always a really fun event, and the kids get so excited about it and dressed up in their cute outfits. And this doesn't even show the hallways. If you go through the hallways, there are banners. The billboards are decorated according to the countries. I think they had a competition with the billboards, and so been doing this since the school opened, and it's always a highlight of the year. So I appreciate all the work the staff puts into it, because our families enjoyed it every year.
On Thursday, September 28th, we had our first Yoga on the Lawn event right here at Levine Education Center. Mr. Thomas said he was there, but I do not see him in this picture. But he said he felt he enjoyed it. The class was facilitated by Monica Romero. She is one of our school counselors and also a certified yoga instructor. She works out of Levine Elementary School. This is offered as part of our wellness program, and employees earn points as part of our wellness system. And we will be offering this class on the last Thursday of every month, utilizing several of our school counselors who are yoga certified teachers. Feel free to join us for our next class. The K through 8th grade Math Adoption Committee has 59 participants, including parents, teachers who are parents, instructional coaches, and administrators, and has already completed 2 collaborative sessions. The work of the committee met with presentations focused on the AZ math standards so that our team would know what we are teaching towards, and collaborative dialogue amongst members has focused on what we want students to know and to be able to do, which will be crucial to our selecting of our next math curriculum. Publisher presentations are scheduled for November 1st through 3rd and November 7th. So thank you to all that are serving on that committee. Now our employees of the month. From our certified side of the staff, Mark Bowden, instructional coach at MC Cash. Mark is in his 6th year of serving the students and staff at MC Cash. Originally hired to teach middle school social studies and science, 3 years ago, Mark transitioned to an instructional coach position where he can be found fervently supporting our teachers to ensure they are providing the best instruction possible to our students. Need testing data broken down in a particular way? Mark's also the data guru. And using his former college DJ skills, Mark is also known for making morning announcements fun and entertaining. Bottom line, Mark will serve in any way possible to support staff, students, and families. Thank you, Mark, for being such a well-rounded employee and for positively impacting MC Cash in so many ways. Congratulations, Mark.
Are you afraid I'm going to make fun of you? Well, not the suit for tonight. We've never seen the suit before. No, Mark is an asset to our campus. If you ever are playing trivia, for words or liquor, Mark needs to be on your trivia team. He knows all the things about all the things all the time. And when you're talking about, what do you think in 5th grade? I taught that. In 8th grade, oh, I taught that. And he's not lying because we check. And he just has a wealth of experience and knowledge in all areas. He's not so good at reality TV, so you'll need a filler for that. But we really appreciate him at Cash, and he's puts up with us, so that's saying a lot, and is really irreplaceable. So thank you.
Now, from our classified side of the staff, Gabriela Martinez, computer technician at EFGA. Gabriela is entering her 3rd year of working as a computer technician at Estrella Foothills Global Academy, and while her normal job responsibilities are centered around anything tech-related, you'll find her doing so much more. Often, you'll find Gabriela in the preschool walking students to their buses and other dismissal-related needs. When it comes to her computer technician responsibilities, she has done a great job of making a streamlined process for teachers who need tech support and takes care of any and all needs as soon as possible. We appreciate your dedication to the students and staff at EFGA, and congratulations, Gabriela.
technology, working with supporting our teachers, but also parents. But she's everywhere you need her. She is right there, right away, working and helping out in our preschool, helping out with dismissal. She was our DJ today for our incentive. She is just phenomenal. But something that also wasn't mentioned was her building relationships with our students and supporting them. For just one example with one of our students, she has just built such a good relationship with him that he will go and eat lunch with her. He actually has a little setup in her office, and he's her little assistant. So we just thank you for everything that you do.
So, as was mentioned, she is a computer tech, and so she works with us in the technology department. And Gabby represents the best in what we expect from our computer techs and the department in general. It's all about service and supporting our schools, and I just want to say I'm very proud of you.
Well, congratulations again to our employees of the month, and to your families as well who are here tonight. Thank you for your support of them, and we deeply appreciate them. Now, Gabby's husband, I walked up behind him, and he had the D-backs game on. This is before the board meeting started. 3-2. Okay, we had a signal. 3-2. We got 3, they got 2. Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. All right, so we can slow down the governing board meeting now. We got the link. So, all right. We are very, very excited to hear, to have this classroom spotlight with Cheatham Elementary. This is they're going to be presenting on a program that is key to the success of their school. And with that, we'll turn it over to Principal Christy Pashley.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, President Berrigan, members of the board, Dr. Sprout, and all of our guests here. Thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to spotlight Cheatham. There are so many things happening at our school, but this evening we chose, kind of as a staff, to highlight our academic goal teams. Academic goal teams are a partnership between home and school. Over the past few years, we've done a great job of increasing our parent participation at Cheatham. Participation in fun family events, whether it's at Peter Piper Pizza or over at Scooptacular, parent-teacher conferences, or just recitals and things at school. What we want to do is capitalize on that and transition that participation into a partnership with our parents at home. You know, that partnership being maybe 2 people or 2 organizations coming together for something, and then everybody enjoys the profits. And the profit would be our students and their academic growth. And that's exactly what AGT is. It builds that partnership between home and school. So this evening, I have two of our amazing instructional coaches that are going to get us started here pretty quick, but we also have a combination of not just students, but students, their parents, and our staff that will not just tell you about AGT, but are going to show you what AGT is on our campus. Okay, so I'm going to get started by inviting Mrs. Downs and Mrs. Clausen up to the side. Thank you.
Good evening. So an introduction to AGT, or academic goal teams, not to be confused with American Got Talent, which often sometimes happens. So why we do these is because that shared responsibility leads to a greater likelihood of student academic success. So that AGT allows us to support parents by building their awareness of what is happening at school, and then that strengthens our partnership, not just with them, but with the student. So it's really the 3 of us. How we do that, we educate the parents on standards and provide simple yet impactful ways, right, they can support them at home. Because we know that every year there's a new way to add and a new way to multiply that all parents do not know and can be confusing. So we want to give them those simple things that they can do at home that would benefit their academic success. So what that looks like is goal setting on our campus, those activities, parent nights, family reports, going over the family reports, and then reading passages. And this year, our campus-wide goal is a fluency goal. So we want to increase fluency. I know the district has done a lot of work with around proficiency on state testing is a certain fluency as well. So we want to increase that on our campus. So what it looks like is our family nights. Like Ms. Pashley talked about, we would capitalize on the times that parents would most likely come, and we would seize that opportunity and make it have an academic focus. So this is our curriculum night at the beginning of this year, and you can see that they would review their child's data, they would learn about our academic goals, and that they would then take home resources that would support those goals, and that they could extend that learning at home in a tangible way.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Clausen. So I'm just going to go over teacher roles and student roles on these AGT nights. So one of the things that the teachers do with the parents is not only share the NWEA data with the parent, but really explain what that looks like. Because from a parent standpoint, you might get this sheet of paper with all these numbers and have no idea what it means. So they really get the chance to go through the family report and let them know where their student is academically and where they're wanting to get them to. They also go over their fluency goals with them at that grade level. So as you can see on those sheets, the yellow ones and the clear sheets, those have the fluency norms for grade levels for fall, winter, and spring, just to give the parents an idea of where their child should be reading at to best support them at home. And then they also are given fluency passages at the level that they need to be. And then the teacher walks through what a 1-minute read looks like, how they can practice retell with them, and then they take these resources home. So they get a timer, those clear sheets, fluency norms, and passages. So they get the resources, but also learn how to do them, so we're not just sending them on their way. And then with student goal setting, the students are doing this throughout the year at school, where they are setting goals based on their NWEA, but they're also creating action steps to meet those goals. And that's been a really big push with our kiddos, is creating those action steps so they know how to be successful. And then they are being used at these nights, at conferences, and the students kind of have more buy-in and accountability with it and ownership of it. Again, working with that whole idea of partnership with the parents and students. So at this night, they also go over what their goals are, and you'll get to see some examples of their goal setting sheets tonight with the students. So.
Yeah, so at this time, we are going to invite our families and the teachers to come up, and we are going to take you in to an AGT night and what the parents might have experienced when they came to our campus. So each family and each teacher is going to talk. The student is going to explain some stuff, and then and the parent will explain what they got.
So I showed her this how it works. We're going to focus on reading this focus, and then it's tied to so like and then as a teacher, I will go over the red scores that they have because she has had extra in her school for her school journey, her education journey, and then I noticed, and then that would present to them like this is the national average achievement. This is where she's at, and then I have noticed she's at she was at 274 when she took the test this fall. Now as a 6th grader, she's at 240. And then we discuss this as a teacher. I discuss what her goals are. I remind them that they have this free, so not don't question yourself so much. And then as a student, so they the goals, and then this is
So she has a different differentiated instruction. So they are leveled according to their reading level. So I want to talk about, so she's not we kind of talk about that from each side. It helps us break down the programming a little bit more. And these are the different scores for each area. Yeah, we got it. And then they get to pick those. So you got to pick those three.
It's fairly easy for me to help her out at home when I have all the tools. They give me this packet and show me stuff that's really good with letting me know where we're trying to get to for the year. So we know her goal, we know what she's trying to get to for that per minute reading. And so as she's practicing at home, I use the small practice. She's moved on to some bigger books now, but using these packages to help her out and knowing where I need to get her to.
You have any siblings? You should help your younger one.
I'll cheat him with her.
Yeah. And I have older sisters. Yeah. And I just gotta wait for the younger one.
What did you think of something? Writing? Do you
But I
like
know
to do that? Did you get older?
they seem like
She said she's going to be the only cafe owner that has her book for sale.
That's how you do?
yeah.
And she's just a baby, not just a meeting, but I'm the math and science teacher, and I mean, when a student wants to achieve, this is really like your definition of high achievers. It gives you this never give up.
What's critical now is support. I definitely want to sit in my
Try to be consistent.
You've got a lot of responsibility. I can see now, and by the time they finish high school, they already have that.
And I mean, you're supporting, I mean, I had a girl, my daughter, and I love her, and like, and you're such to me, you know, yes, she's in.
What school is your oldest at?
Now, actually, she's at the desert. Yeah, she came out and she
They can achieve what they want. We're working on all of those. It's good. I come across a lot of people who want their options. Know your child. A little bit of community.
And I just want to, you know, I get not good at college.
I know.
Oh, there's some great kids come out of shop. We had a Princeton alumni out of Fairfax last year. She was on news coverage. Every team.
And I, you know, I serve my students, like, don't let, getting all the factors, don't let, you know, it can happen, but you're still doing. So I appreciate you.
It's nice meeting you. I'll see you around campus. Dr. Watkins.
All right, Cheatham families and staff, I'm going to have you head back. Dr. Sprout and governing board members, obviously you guys can see how quickly our AGT meetings, the conversation just can kind of keep going and growing, talking about those goals and action steps. But again, thank you very much for letting us spotlight Cheatham. We appreciate it.
So Ms. Pashley, would you bring your parents and staff up here? We'll get a group picture here.
I didn't tell them about the group picture,
Okay.
parents.
Well, you know, parents are part of the presentation, so let's get them up here.
Okay, come here, Anna. We're going to take one more picture. Oh, back over here. Yep, gotta take a picture.
Good to see you. I was not expecting nationwide. two of them gives the highest.
Very,
Players on a team. I used to work with his mom for some years, and I was like a little younger.
oh, you could go run, baby. Say, excuse me?
They got pride. They
I
got
know.
pride over there too.
It's awesome.
So, thank you, Ms. Pashley, and to your entire team here. We really appreciate what you're doing in this goal setting with your students, and we know that that is crucial to their success. Thank you, parents, for being here tonight. We appreciate you and staff. I do have to say on a personal note, I have a former student who is now a mom. When I was principal at Montebello Elementary School, Ms. Yesenia Arteaga is how I knew her, but it's nice to see you. We've got two kids going to our schools, but we appreciate all of our parents that are here tonight. I will say before we wrap up the superintendent's report, we do have parent-teacher conferences going this week, speaking of parental involvement, and so we thank our teachers who are doing long days this week as we get ready, obviously, to head into fall break, but wrapping up the first quarter. We have 2 half-days on Thursday and Friday, but they don't wait till then. They're already doing parent-teacher conferences now, so thank you to our staff.
All right, thank you, Cheatham. Thank you, parents, for sharing your kiddos with us tonight. I know that the 2 parents and students I was talking with, the parents are incredibly proud of their kids, and I'm sure all of you parents feel that same way, and you absolutely should be. I think this is an excellent step forward for Cheatham, moving that school in the right direction, and I really appreciate everybody's hard work, because it's taken all of you guys to do it together, so thank you. We're going to move to the business portion of our meeting now. You are welcome to stay for that if you'd like, or you may exit and go have some fun tonight. Okay, we are starting back up with what sounds to me like a very exciting presentation from the business services people. Come on up.
Just in case business services isn't exciting enough on its own, Mr. Thomas passed along that the D-backs are now up 5-2 in the bottom of the sixth.
Fantastic. Great way to
We'll
start.
start with that. All right, so we've had, first, good evening, President Berrigan, Dr. Sprout, and members of the governing board. We've had a few presentations on specific business topics in the last few meetings, but this presentation will be a high-level walkthrough of who the business office is, what we do, and an introduction to the work on that team. So within the business and operations departments of the district, we have transportation, child nutrition, support services, and those departments report through the CFO, but this will be a focus on the actual business services team itself. And these are the folks in the district that are responsible for purchasing, paying bills, payroll, maintaining budgets, and in general, accurately accounting for all the district's financial activities in accordance with state and federal law. Within the business team, we also provide support to departments and schools and help establish processes to make sure that district-wide we're able to follow the steps that we need to in these areas. To give you an idea of the folks at the district that are responsible for all of these activities, it's everyone in this picture here, and we unintentionally color-coded at the welcome back where all of us in the bluer shirts have been here for 2 years or less, and everyone in the greener shirts has been here for more than 2 years. So we have a great mix of experience and newer staff within the business office. This is a look at everyone that's included in the business office team. One name that you won't see among the 11 here, but that is definitely a part of our team this year, is Kevin Hegarty, our former CFO, and he has provided tremendous support to all of us this school year. We're very lucky to have him. Several of our administrators in the business office team are here tonight. Ashley Miranda, our Executive Director of Finance, who you'll hear from shortly. Julie Carson, our Purchasing Supervisor. And Brenda Long, our Payroll Supervisor. When we talk about the work that we do in the business office and all of the district's financial operations, there's one document that's kind of a playbook for school district business operations, and that's the Uniform System for Financial Records. And it's something that's put together by the Arizona Auditor General's office each year and prescribes the minimum policies and procedures that we need to follow within the business office. It's something that's based on state law, federal law, accounting principles, and rules and regulations from the Department and State Board of Education. If you're ever curious what goes into everything we do in the business office and the steps that we are required to follow, there is a link on this slide and almost 400 pages of information. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's an exciting read, but if you're having trouble falling asleep one night, there's something to look at. Most of what we do in the business office is very regulated, and there's certain steps that we need to follow for all of our activities. And that's true in one of the core areas of business, which is purchasing. Our purchasing team is responsible for reviewing everything that we buy as a district and make sure that we're doing that in accordance with the applicable requirements. The way that they do that is before we spend any money as a district, there needs to be a purchase order in place. And last year, our purchasing team approved over 3,000 purchase orders. What goes into that is taking a look to see what it is that we're buying, how much money we're spending, and then using that to understand what steps we needed to follow in order to complete a purchase correctly. That might be making sure that we went to multiple possible providers and getting bids. It could be looking at other government contracts that have been established that we're eligible to use as a district and making sure that those meet our requirements. If it's something that we need to buy that there's only one possible provider, following some steps to determine that truly is the case and establishing what's known as a sole source provider. And then in some cases, coordinating a larger district procurement process, request for proposals, request for qualifications, or an invitation for bid, which is a very structured, formal way that districts go about entering contracts for some of their larger purchases. The request for qualifications that there's a recommendation for approval on the board agenda tonight for architect services That started back in August with preparing a requirements document that would be publicly posted and available to possible respondents. Included an initial meeting here at the district that was open to anyone that was interested in learning about the opportunity, and then involved a team reviewing all of our submissions that we received, scoring, and determining the best option for the district. So those are long processes that lead to some of these procurement decisions. Another area within the business office that I often say is the highest pressure position within the business office is our payroll team. That's the staff that are making sure that our over 1,100 employees are paid accurately and on time every 2 weeks. With some jobs, if you make a mistake, you can come back and fix it over a long period of time. With payroll, if you make a mistake, you probably have a line outside your office the next day of angry people that need that mistake fixed. And we're fortunate that our payroll team doesn't make many mistakes. Within the payroll team, they're responsible for overseeing our time clock system, which is used by over 500 hourly employees, and ensuring that all time cards are reviewed and approved each week. Our payroll team also works closely with the Human Resources Department to make sure that if there's a change in employee assignment, pay, or schedule, that rolls through to payroll and we have any of the necessary changes made to that process. Payroll also takes care of our insurance payments, state and federal taxes, our Arizona State Retirement System, and voluntary deductions for employees. I'll pass it off to Ashley Miranda, our Executive Director of Business Services, for a moment, and she'll explain some of our business office processes related to accounting and accounts payable.
Thank you, Charlie. Within school finance, we have account codes that are generated and used to provide a district's financial and budgeting reporting. Our accounting team is responsible for creating and maintaining these account codes. On this slide, you can find our district account code string, which is 24 digits long. Each set of X's represent an element within the account code string. These elements are mandated by the Uniform System of Financial Records, USFR. The first set of 3 X's is our fund, which explains the source of where the money comes from or is generated. The program explains the population of students being served. The function, it explains the area of where the expense is being used. And then we have our object code that represents the description of the item being purchased. We have unit, identifies the school or department's location, and then we have our course and project codes, which are additional elements that our district utilizes for additional details. The accounting team is also responsible for reconciliation of 9 bank accounts and the county treasurer's cash. The county treasurer has 20 summary funds that our district's funds roll up into. And I consider these kind of like 20 different bank accounts that we have to reconcile to. We have our accounts payable team that works very hard to ensure that our invoices are paid accurately and on time. Last year, we had over $26 million in invoices that were paid. We had over 11,000 invoices paid and 3,404 checks that were issued. Now, most of us think, well, there's a lot of invoices to checks. Why don't we have more checks? Our system allows us to process multiple invoices within one check. So sometimes we can have 20 to 30 invoices processed on one check. As Charlie mentioned earlier, our department provides training to support our schools. This fall, we chose to provide training to our staff for the student activity funds. Myself and our bookkeeper, Chelsea Jacobson, have met with school sponsors and the secretaries to review the guidelines for the student activity funds. We explained the process of how to form a club or renew an existing club. We provide instructions on all documentations that is needed to be in compliance for the activities that the clubs hold at their school sites. We discuss guidelines for fundraising, cash handling, deposit preparation, purchasing payment authorization. All sponsors are provided with a handbook that they review and sign and agree to comply with these policy and procedures. Thank you so much, and at this time, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Charlie, where he'll continue our presentation. Did I go back too far?
We might have missed one. So as Ashley mentioned, anything that we do financially has a 24-digit number attached to it, and that's what we're able to use to roll up all of our finances into the reporting that we need to do on the business team. We complete a number of reports in the business office, many small reports throughout the year, but probably the two most important things that we do for the district each year are the budget and the annual financial report. So in June and July, we'll have a proposed budget and an adopted budget preparing for the next year. And then throughout the year, there could be revised budgets depending on how things fall compared to the initial budget. Right now, we have the annual financial report that's due to the state on October 15th, and that's on the board agenda for approval tonight. That's where all of this accounting data is rolling up into a summary and kind of closing out all our activity for the year. There's many other reports that we complete during the year, a classroom site fund narrative where we explain how certain funding from the state was used and what was accomplished with that funding. We complete a report on our outstanding debt in the fall to the Department of Administration to talk about our bonds and any other debt that's outstanding. And in the spring, we report on tax credit donations and how those were used. So throughout the year, there's many reports completed by the business office, all rolling up from that accounting data. Hopefully the last few slides have given you the idea that what we do in the business office is very technical, it's specialized, and it works differently for school districts than maybe private organizations or other types of areas of business. And so one thing that we do that we feel is very important is sharing our expertise with policymakers. So we'll meet with state lawmakers or state agencies to advocate for the district and share what we know from the school district perspective about business, so that if something's proposed to change at the state level or change at the department level, we can explain how that would impact us as a district and hopefully provide useful information that leads to a change being in the best interest and accomplishing what's intended. We're also in participation with several organizations with other school districts that inform us of things that are changing and give us an opportunity to have a voice in things that are changing. A few examples are the Education Finance Reform Group, the Greater Phoenix Education Management Council, Arizona School Administrators, and the Arizona Association of School Business Officials. So everything that's very complicated that we work on, we have an opportunity to share our knowledge with others and try to inform those decisions. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the business office.
Any questions or comments? That's
Thank you.
because they're very impressed, and they should be. I appreciate some of those data points that you provided to us in there. I think that gives people who don't work in the dailiness of, the finance piece of things, even just the amount of work that is done in a finance office. I very much appreciate everything that you and your team do, and I appreciate you sharing this information tonight for everyone in the room as well as our public. So thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Been motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Next, we have the annual financial report for 2023. He's back.
I don't have an update on the score,
Okay.
but we did time our presentations earlier, and this one is about half the length of the first. So setting the table for this presentation. So good evening again, President Berrigan, Dr. Sprout, and members of the governing board. Tonight I have a review of our annual financial report, which is on the agenda for approval. First, I'll give you a little bit of background on the annual financial report. This is something that we're required to submit to the Department of Education by October 15th. It's a summary of all of our financial activities for the previous year and has some related data. And one other step that we need to take with this is to publish the report by November 15th. And we accomplish that by submitting an electronic copy to the Department of Ed, and then providing a link to that copy on our website. So that'll be done shortly after the board meeting. To give you an idea of where data in the annual financial report goes, we'll submit this file up to the Department of Education, and then from there, our information feeds into several other state and federal reports. In January, the Department of Ed publishes what's called the Superintendent's Annual Report, and that combines all the information from school district and charter annual financial reports into one 700-plus page document. The state then fills out some federal reporting each year, and our data will be a part of that state of Arizona information that goes to the National Center for Education Statistics. And there's also several other places where data from the annual financial report will be distilled, transformed, and presented different ways. So a few examples are the Auditor General's Classroom Spending Report, which shows the percentage of school district spending in different categories. School report cards, which have information about every school in the state, include per pupil spending data that comes from this reporting. And there's a new school finance transparency portal that was created within the Department of Administration recently that summarizes school finance data in a different way and is just a different presentation of the underlying data that also ultimately populates this report. What's in the annual financial report is a number of summary tables from our accounting system and a focus on some of the major funds of the district. If there's ever an interest in more information than is in this report or any specific fund, we can go as far in detail as anyone is interested in, and the way that school districts account for things makes it easy to drill down and provide more information. So the one page that gives a holistic view of everything the district did in the previous year is the summary page. This is not numbered in the PDF, but it's just after page 10. The summary page shows the total beginning balance, revenues, expenditures, and ending balance for all the district's funds, and it's also a page that's signed by the governing board president. Then there are individual pages in the AFR that give more detailed information about some of the district's larger funds. I won't go cell by cell through this very large document, but did want to share a few of the highlights and where you'd find that within this report. So first, our maintenance and operation fund accounts for the vast majority of the district's operations. Maintenance and operation fund spending totaled $54.5 million last year, and you'll find this detailed on page 2 of the AFR. This was an increase of $5.3 million compared to the last year, and almost all, close to 90% of the spending in this fund is salaries and benefits for district employees. So that's the majority of what you'll see in the maintenance and operation fund on page 2. The other 12% is supplies and purchase services. On page 3 of the AFR, you'll see the classroom site fund. That's where the money that we receive from the 0.6% sales tax for education and a portion of state land trust endowment earnings are accounted for. This is a fund that is used almost entirely for teacher salaries and is a fund that the district has used to increase teacher salaries in the last few years. So you'll see a few stats on this slide. The percentage of teacher base pay that's been supported by the Classroom Site Fund has increased from 8.7% in 2019-2020 to 13% this past year, and that's been possible as revenues into that fund have grown. Last year, spending from the Classroom Site Fund totaled $5.4 million, and the fund collected about $5.8 million. So it's been able to accommodate this extra teacher compensation, and in the current year, we've again used that to continue to increase teacher salaries. On page 4 of the AFR, you'll see our capital funds, and a few highlights to point out on that page. Our unrestricted capital fund balance grew to just over $21 million this year. That's a fund that we mentioned last month will likely be used in part to support some of our capital needs as the district grows over the next 10 years. The bond building fund ended the year with a 0 balance, and that's because we spent the remainder of the 2019 bonds, and that fund will be replenished when we complete our bond sale later this month. And then the new school facilities fund, which accounts for new school facilities dollars from the state, there was no spending from that fund last year because we didn't have any of that fund, but we expect to have new school facilities funding from the state next year. And with that, we'll likely also use some of the adjacent ways fund balance, which is funding we can use to improve streets adjacent to schools and ingress and egress into schools. So those funds you'll see on page 4 of the AFR. Finally, one last page I wanted to highlight is where you'll find federal spending, and that's on page 5 of the annual financial report. Last year, we spent $11 million of federal funds in total, and $5 million of that came from COVID recovery dollars, or ESSER funds. Aside from the $5 million we spent last year, there's a table on page 10 of the AFR that's new this year and shows how much ESSER funding and other federal recovery dollars the district's received over the last few years and what we've spent. And so we've received about $18 million total and have spent $13.8 million so far. And so that final $4.3 million will be spent in the current year. And when you hear conversations about ESSER funds, often the two questions that come up are districts spending this money, or are they just setting this money aside? And do districts have a plan to not have this money in the future? And for the district, the answer to both of those questions is yes, we've been allocating this money and putting it to use. And we have been preparing for a future without this extra federal funding starting next year in each of our budgets. So district's in good shape in regards to ESSER funds. Also, my understanding is that there'll be a presentation in the next few months that goes more into how we've used ESSER funds, and so you'll get a little bit more information about that. Those are the highlights that I was hoping to point out in the annual financial report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments?
Great Cliff Note version. Appreciate it.
I will make some comments that apparently Charlie is too kind to make, and maybe I'm just not as kind. Unfortunately, this year, the Office of the Auditor General is the one who's responsible for releasing these forms to school districts. And last year, the forms came out on August 26th. This year, those forms did not come out until September 12th. Since they've come out, there have been over 120 corrections, and so they keep sending out new submissions. They didn't get the school-by-school AFR out to school districts until last Friday. Ashley's like nodding her head, yes, keep going, amen. So the work that Charlie, Ashley, and whoever helps to do this AFR in a year where our meeting is very early, so not only is the timeline condensed by the Office of the Auditor General, but the district timeline has condensed you because, yeah, it's not due till October 15th, but this is when we have our board meeting. It's a lot of work. Your eyes are probably very, very blurry. I know right now I'm seeing things in grid lines, like everything's an Excel spreadsheet. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the work that you and your team have done to get us here and get it done in time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, oh wait, we need to approve it. Do I have a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, architect services for school number 10. It's hard to believe. You have some
Yes,
info.
thank you, President Berrigan. We did issue an RFQ on August 17th. This would be for architecture for school number 10. We received 5 responses, and we did have a selection committee evaluate the qualification statements and ranked the most qualified firms. And then those organizations made formal presentations to the selection committee. And the final rankings were as follows. First was BWS Architects. I believe we have Sue is back there from BWS. And second, DLR Group, and then third, EMC2 Group Architects will begin working with our number 1 architecture firm, BWS, to solidify this process.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sprout. Do we have a motion?
Upon your approval.
Yes.
Motion.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? I would just say that Mr. Martin reminded me tonight that BWS did the Desert Meadows Preschool, which is my favorite looking building in the district. So thank you for that reminder, Charlie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Finally, the revised stipend schedule for 2024.
Yes, this is just a simple change. We thank our teachers that are on our curriculum adoption committee. Some of the most important decisions we make are the selection of curriculum, and so this would provide a $500 stipend to staff members who serve on the district curriculum adoption committee, and so it would just be a line change on our current stipend schedule.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dr. Sprout. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Comments from the board, Mrs. Abeg.
I'll just say that it's really great to be here and see, and throughout the district, and see throughout these presentations, the awards and the accomplishments, just how much hard work is going on every day in the district. And I don't think there's a conversation that I have with a teacher or a school or district level admin that doesn't include what they're excited about that's going on right now, their plans for next year, just always the excitement and working hard on that. And it's contagious to our students and our families as well, as you see the families coming in for the parades, coming in from the AGT, right? Now I'm gonna remember from America's Got Talent. And even with the students coming home, I have a math all-star at my house that's been very excited about the Chromebook coming home this week, and another one not so excited, more grossed out about dissecting chicken today, and just all the exciting things going on. And even the little things like bulletin boards, my fourth grader was quoting the power of yet that was in one of the bulletin boards a teacher had posted, and we were having a discussion about that. So all the little things and big things that are going on and all that hard work is just contagious in the community. So appreciate everyone's hard work.
Thank you. Dr. Watkins, and I hope you'll include some highlights from your trip in your comments.
Still going through jet lag.
He's
Yeah,
not
I'm
done.
Still, my sleep pattern's still off. You know, it's a 10-hour difference over there. It was a blessing to be over there and to see the school systems. Our church here, CCV, sponsors a group called Missions of Hope. And so this was the first time we did a vision over there. They have 33 schools. They want to build up to 100 in Kenya. The schools are doing so well that the government wants to use their philosophies and how they're doing schools. So I was able to see about 330 kids in 5 days in 100-degree weather with no air conditioning. So it was tough. I did a bulk of the third graders, a bulk of the sixth graders, and then all of the high schoolers that were in need. And they couldn't figure out why all the high schoolers were nearsighted. And I had to do, it was like 20% of third graders needed glasses, about 40% of sixth graders needed glasses, 85% of high schoolers needed glasses. So I'm like, what's going on? Sure enough, they were studying in the dark. So we learned that they're in huts, and so they're reading next to coal or a candle. And so what we proposed is change their study hours from 6 p.m. on to 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and start school at 9 o'clock. So it's going to help them tremendously. So I winded up being able to get funding for 190 pair of glasses from vendors that I deal with, so the glasses are free. Wow. I'm going to set up an internship. I have interns from Midwestern that work at my practice that are going to go every 6 months and help each school get to where they need to get to. So it was a good, humbling experience. My reward and all that, again, I got to do a 3-day safari, which was incredible. So I was just very humbling, you come home, you're very appreciative for what we have. I mean, these kids had nothing, but they were so grateful, so appreciative. So, but landing back on our soil here in America felt pretty good. But I will have a full report that I'll share with you guys, but it was interesting they want me to be their national vision person, and, I want to be a part of it, but it's a lot. My other note is 10 years ago, I started a mentoring program at Levine Elementary, and that was my first introduction to working with Levine, and that was with Dr. Joe Roselle, and he's leaving us, so I definitely have to acknowledge him and say thank you for seeing something in me to allow me to be involved with our kids in Levine. And definitely wouldn't be here right now if you weren't instrumental in my thoughts and in getting me to where I'm at now. So just wanted to give you your flowers before you leave us. Okay.
All right, Mrs. Anderson.
Well, I just want to thank Cheatham for sharing your, the AGT program. Great, great connection. It's something very similar to what I did in my classroom when I was a teacher. And so it's just a huge success to have that connection with those kids and with the parents. And so just keep doing that amazing work. And then just, man, I can't believe a quarter has already gone by. So thanks for all the teachers and administrators for all the hard work you guys have done this quarter. So take this next week to rest and rejuvenate and then come back fresh for the second quarter.
Thank you. I am so glad that we are a district that recognizes our administrators. That's all of you left here pretty much in this room at this point in time. And I think about the sacrifices that you make, the time away from family. You are all very often the first ones at your school or department and the last ones to be at your school or your department. Administrators in any line of work tend to get a bad rap, and why do we need administrators? And that's a waste of spending. I believe the exact opposite of that. You guys are my favorite people in the district. You have been teachers, or you've been tradespeople or accounting technicians or whatever. You have worked your way up, whether it's through this district or another line of work, and worked very hard to get where you're at. You have sleepless nights when things aren't going well, and when you have questions and when you don't know how to fix things. You sometimes see the worst in people, but you also get to see the best in people. You are the best in this state, and I love every single one of you. I'm so glad that we recognize our administrators in this district. And to Dr. Roselle, you filled a gap in this district that I'm not even sure we knew that we had, and you've done it beautifully. And I personally can't thank you enough for that. We are, it's two sides of the coin. We're sad to see you leave, but we are so happy that you're going to be doing something that you're going to love and take the next journey in what is your life. So thank you for everything you have done for us in Levine. Your shoes will be incredibly hard to fill. So thank you. Our next board meeting will be on November 9th. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.